Hello everybody, welcome to another chapter of Sontails Dreams Come True audio read-through. As always, links in the description to the chapter that I'm reading through now, as well as the page if you want to check out my other stories like Sonic High or Betrayal or some of the parody songs that I wrote for the site. That'd be awesome. Anyway, yeah. This is a relatively short chapter, but in my opinion, the reason I wrote it is because not much plot happens. In fact, pretty much nothing happens, but it gives the essential background and the introspective of the community and the laws, not really laws, but you know what I mean, of the place, to just add to the level of drama and threat to their situation. Anyway, without further ado, let's begin. Chapter 8, Church of Chaos. Sonic hated having to put on fancy dress clothes. He never wore clothes. Most of the guys didn't. It just wasn't really something they did in this community. His signature brown bandana, ruby red shoes, and white gloves were all he ever wore. But church was a special and sacred place. He pulled on the itchy, cream-coloured dress pants intertwined with fabric of all kinds. He screamed out in annoyance, punching the wall as his white shirt got caught in his mini quills for the 10th time. He finally struggled his way into the outfit and was putting on his fancy jet black shoes when the doorbell rang. "Tails is here, hurry up!" his mother called from downstairs. Sonic quickly slipped on his shoes and hastened downstairs, jumping into the car that was beginning to back out of the driveway. "Morning," Tails beamed, smiling his cute, innocent smile. He had well-fitted, sharp-looking black dress pants on with a navy blue top which mirrored his eyes. This made Sonic a bit nervous, and it was... Oh, fuck, sorry, that's my phone. I mean, not fuck, shit, damn it, I'm not swearing. No swearing will be happening. I'll just leave it in, whatever. Not gonna be bothered starting again. Anyway, this made Sonic a bit nervous, as it fit well and made Tails look incredibly handsome and slightly magical. His golden fur was still slightly damp, his hair parted neatly at the top, apart from the 3 bangs that always jutted out from his head. Sonic looked away, trying to bury away his feelings while he was in the car with his parents. "You okay, darling? You look sick," his mother asked softly, worrying for her child. "He just needs to toughen up," Vector spat back, slamming his foot down on the accelerator as the car roared off into the distance towards the church. Sonic looked down. A depressive frown slowly crept across his face, darkening his facial features. Tails looked at him, wanting to comfort his sad friend, but knew it would be suicide to do it in front of his extremely religious parents. Sonic glanced at the fox, who tried to smile a warm-hearted smile to cheer him up. "Want to go to the new Twinkle Park this afternoon after church?" Tails offered, and Sonic nodded swiftly in response. His mother had heard this and enthusiastically agreed to give the 2 boys a ride to the amusement park afterwards, and the sadness seemed to wash off Sonic like dirt in a shower. Over the ridge of the southernmost part of town, situated next to the largest bluff of the community, stood the large, majestic marble church. Large struts towered out from the top, dancing in the golden sun of the morning. The freshly fallen snow slipped off the slanted roofs and turned to sludge on the ground nearby. Another morning where the sun had won the battle of dominance that week. This place was like a haven to all, the safest place imaginable, to which Big the priest resided over, greeting everyone warmly as they entered the sanctuary. To Sonic and Tails, however, it seemed like a building straight out of a nightmare. To them it was the gate to hell, chaining them to fear and forcing them to live their lives in the closet, away from prying eyes. The wind that bellowed through the open doors made the whole church creak, and sunshine illuminated through the stained glass windows, casting shadows which looked like horrific creatures rather than holy images of chaos. As they entered, the large brass bells chimed loudly throughout the area, causing a nearby flock of white doves to fly off into the distance, although they could very well have been black crows. "Rise for the morning hymn," Big said, standing up and opening his hands out wide. He was dressed in a heavenly white gown which seemed to be sewed by angels. It sparkled in the sunlight and was so expertly crafted that even the finest dressmakers in all the country could not hope to weave fabric as precisely as those thin fibres in his outfit. As the last notes of the song rang out, ricocheting off the stone walls and echoing through the great hall, Big began to start his morning service. It started out like a normal, average, boring speech that he had said all the time, but today He decided to focus on the 10 Commandments of Chaos. Sonic and Tails looked at each other, shuddering. They both knew what was coming next. One by one, he went through, dishing out proverbs, meanings, and advice on how everyone who abides by these rules will live a rich and full life. That was when he began number 7, the sacred bond between a man and a woman. Big cleared his throat and began to speak. Men should live normal lives, fall in love with a beautiful woman and have kids. That is how we reproduce. This is how we survive. And this is how it was, is, and always will be, according to the creation of chaos. However, we have word that our neighbors up north no longer adhere to this sacred law, allowing males to be together and have sex. This is disgusting. This is horrible. This is blasphemous. Chaos would spit on them and would never allow them into heaven for breaking the sacred rule. Luckily for us, if any of those, he shuddered slightly in disgust, sick, infected individuals try to cross over to our borders, we have an excuse to execute them, as is the will of chaos. Therefore, none will ever desecrate our lands and pollute it with their filth. We will remain clean. Sonic and Tails looked at each other in horror, both gulping deeply in unison as a roar of cheering and clapping erupted from the cloud. Woo! That'll show 'em, one man said. Keep them out for good, another woman added. They will rot in hell. They have turned their backs on chaos, Vector shouted enthusiastically. Big lowered his arms, trying to sedate the suddenly riled up crowd, when suddenly it became too overwhelming for Sonic. Tails watched in awe as the colour instantly drained from his face, being replaced by white, as pale as a ghost, and his eyelids became heavy like cement. The room began to spin, and he collapsed in a heap. Sonic! Tails yelled, rushing over to his friend's aid and catching him just before he hit the floor, sweeping him off of his feet in the process. I told you he looked ill, his mother elbowed Vector, bending down and picking up her son. Sorry, Big, he's been quite sick lately, she apologized, dragging Sonic outside with Tails' assistance. No need to apologize. Viruses and sickness run rampant around wintertime. May chaos heal your child's ailments, he replied warmly. She nodded in agreement while exiting. Don't worry, Tails, I have him. Go back and finish the sermon, she sighed, waving the fox away. He wanted nothing more than to be with his secret love, to make sure he was okay, but he couldn't draw any suspicion, especially after he acted in front of everyone when Sonic fainted. It just seemed so unusual and out of the blue. Pun intended. After the service concluded, Big sat out the front of the long steps to shake all the visitors' hands. Each individually thanked him for his wise words or congratulated him on his wonderful speech. All except Tails. When Tails tried to slip by unnoticed, Big pulled him aside and began to talk to him. How is your mother doing? Still refusing to come to let chaos heal her soul? He asked politely. Yes, sir, but I'm sure she'll come around eventually, Tails replied, kicking up dirt with his feet and trying to avoid eye contact. Big was the last person he wanted to see right now, and he desperately wanted to go see Sonic. My prayers are with her, and I hope to see her again, he continued. That was very quick reflexes for your friend Sonic there today, young one. I can see that you two are very close friends, and I know he helped you through a tough time after your father's murder. Tails nodded, slowly edging away from the cat, who persisted. I hope close friends is all that you two are. This caught Tails completely off guard, and he stumbled back, using his two twin tails to steady himself and hold his balance. What do you mean? He asked, slightly bewildered by the sudden drastic change in tone. He sounded somehow menacing. I think you know what I mean, he replied. Cynicism filled his voice. Tails shook his head violently. We're just good friends, honest. Good boy. Now go, and may chaos look favourably upon you. Big placed his open palm on Tails' forehead while saying this. As Big finally let Tails go, he rushed away, soothing out the trio of bangers that had been muddled up by the priest. The young fox climbed up into the back seat of the car, sitting next to his blue-furred friend, who was sitting up, twiddling his thumbs happily. Hey, Tails, he smiled. This confused Tails. Hadn't he just fainted? Sonic? How are you feeling? Why did you faint? What happened? You don't seem sick, Tails asked thousands of questions. Slow down there, buddy, Sonic laughed, placing his hand on the kit's forehead and ruffling his fur, but this time Tails didn't mind. I'll explain why later, but for now, still up for Twinkle Park? You bet, Tails replied enthusiastically. Thanks for listening to the audiobook. I know this was a short chapter, but at least you have time to get back to your life. Anyway, don't forget to like, comment, leave a subscribe if you want, favorite, whatever. If you're on the site and you want to be updated before the audiobooks come out, audio read-throughs, whatever, then if you just hit follow, you'll be notified whenever a new one comes out. I try to write them as quick as possible. I'm really busy recently, and I just got back from Japan. I'm actually going to Norway for February, and then I start university in March. So it's a really busy time for me at the moment, but I'm doing my best to both write this story, keep up with Sonic High, as well as doing the audiobooks. Plus, I'm working on my own novel, which I finished last year, and I'm just going through the editing stage right now. So hopefully that all goes well. Fingers crossed. But enough about me. I'll let you get back to your day, and thanks for listening. See you guys next time.